Morning everyone. My name is Ruchika and we are group 2 of this English project. The lesson we are assigned with is the making of a scientist. Now, this story is a beautiful story of how a curious and a young boy went on to become one of the greatest scientists in the world. We have fun things lined up for you, so let me introduce you to the group members. We have Ruchika with the introduction, Rafia with about the author, Vivek playing Richard Ebright, and our narrators are Vismay, Srushti, and Zunaira. We have Swayam with the PPT presentation, Ujwal telling us about different types of butterflies. We have beautiful artwork by Sharika, Saima, and Shweta. And finally, Ujwal with the conclusion. I hope you all enjoy.
About the author of the story, Robert W. Peterson. He was an American newspaper writer who later became a freelance author of magazine articles and books, especially on the topic of sports and scouting. His 1970 Chronicles of Negro League Baseball, entitled Only the Ball Was White. He was raised in Warren, Pennsylvania, in USA. Peterson played baseball while attending Uppsala College. He was a writer and editor with the Old New York World, Telegram newspaper which folded in 1966. Peterson's book, The Boy Scouts, An American Adventure, was written in 1984 on the eve of 75th anniversary of the Boy Scouts of America in it. He discusses the history of scouting's various programs such as the founding of Order of the Arrow by E. Omar Goodman and the influence Ernest Thompson Seton, successful use of American Indian culture in his woodcraft Indian programs had on scouting's early development, particularly the Order of Arrow. Peterson also wrote numerous articles for Scouting magazine in 1970s and 1990s. Peterson died of lung cancer on Feb 11, 2006 in Salisbury, Pennsylvania, survived by his wife Peggy, son and daughter.
Good morning everyone, I'm Ruchika of class 10C. Today I'll be telling you a brief introduction on the chapter The Making of a Scientist. The Making of a Scientist is a fascinating story of a young student who did marvelous work in the field of science. Richard Ebright, a solitary child, had a great fascination for catching butterflies, and he also tagged him. He catched all the 25 types of butterflies. He was also interested in collecting fossils, rocks and coins. His mother always supported him and encouraged him. Let us know more about this chapter through a roleplay presented by my classmates.
Chapter to encourage the learnings for their inclination towards beginning with small discoveries and inculcate the habits thereof, to make them learn about Richard H. Ebright and his journey to become a scientist, to understand what is biography and biographical element of Richard Ebright. Through this lesson, learners can get knowledge of various stage, species, and growth of butterflies. Learners can get ample knowledge about the theory of self.
Good morning to one and all present here. My name is Vivek Jain and I am going to do the narration of Richard Ebright.
At the age of 22, a former Scout of the Year excited the scientific world with a new theory on how cells work. Richard H. Ebright and his college roommate explained the theory in an article in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science. It was the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college students. In sports, that would be like making the big leagues at the age of 15 and hitting a home run your first time at bat. For Richard Ebright, it was the first time in a long string of achievements in science and other fields, and it all started with butterflies. An only child, Ebright grew up north of Reading, Pennsylvania.
There wasn't much I could do over there in Pennsylvania. I couldn't play football or baseball with a team of one, but one thing I could do was just collect things.
So he did, and did he ever. Beginning in kindergarten, Ebright collected butterflies with the same determination that has marked all his activities. He also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all night. The first, he had a driving curiosity along with a bright mind. He also had a mother who encouraged his interests in learning. She took him on trips, bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, mounting materials, and other equipment, and helped him in many other ways.
Main characters of the chapter. Richard H. Ebright's mother, Jacqueline K. Ebright, encouraged and inspired Ebright's interest in learning, bought him instruments, cameras, his only companion, got him the book The Travels of Monarch X that changed Richard Ebright's life.
Only companion until he started school. After that, I would bring home friends for him. But at night, we just did things together. Richie was my whole life after his father died when he was in third grade. If we didn't have things to do, I found work for him. Not physical work, but learning things. He liked it and he wanted to learn. On everyday things, he was just like every other kid.
By the time he was in the second grade, Ebright had collected all 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown.
That probably would have been end of my butterfly collecting. But then my mom got me a book of butterflies, like in which very detail was given about all the butterflies. The book name was Travels of Monarch.
That book, which told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to the young collector.